Well, you see, that's not actually me. I just took the name from the book.
Hey, for the record, I like Eugene Fitzherbert much better than Flynn Rider.
Well, then you'd be the first. But thank you.
Right, Flynn.
Eugene now.
No, it's not. See you out there.
That's just insensitive, Flynn.
Well, this party stinks. All right, Ryder, let's get out of here.
His name is Eugene.
His name is Ryder, and he belongs with me.
How would you know? You had to poison his best friend to get him to marry you.
So, Eugene Fitzherbert, huh?
Yeah, well, I'll spare you the sob story of poor orphan Eugene Fitzherbert. It's a little bit of a... That's a little bit of a downer.
Hey! You're Flynn Rider!
No, you don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen you before in my life. You can't prove anything.
Come on, Flynn.
Eugene.
Eugene? Talk about your throwback.
Okay, you know what? We are done, friend. I don't want anything to do with you anymore.
Wow, money has really changed you, Eugene.
Cheating, lying, and deception, that may have been how Flynn Rider would handle this. But I'm Eugene Fitzherbert now, and I have to do this the right way.
Happy Trans Visibility Day, in case you're watching this on the date that I posted it, March 1st. And if not, I still hope you have a pleasant day. I normally would have posted yesterday a video about Buster Moon from Sing for my little series of Sing analyses, but today I want to talk about something else. I wanted to lay my focus on a character that isn't transgender, but when you break down his character, you notice there are many parallels between his exploration of identity and the one of a genderqueer person. There are several things a person needs in their life. Some of them are love in the form of relationships, attention and affection, and social recognition. Another one is the desire of your personal self-actualization by fulfilling your dreams and striving to be the best version of yourself. But when you fall out of what society deems as the norm, it's difficult to bring your wishes for love and self-actualization in a balance. That's why when we realize that we're queer, we stay in the closet for a while. We need to reflect on our discovery and sometimes wait to be safe before making that public. For a long time, Eugene chose love over being authentic. After all, he was a lonely orphan for most of his life. It's very understandable he'd seek love and attention since he never had a parent who'd provide for that. For the people who haven't watched Tangled the series in a long time or not at all, here's a brief introduction of two key characters for this video, Lance Strongbow and Stallion. Lance is his childhood friend who grew up with him in the orphanage. They committed many thefts together, they're like brothers. Stallion on the other hand is the Baron's daughter, which you can compare to the Mafia, and she's also his ex. Should have been me instead of Eugene. These two are, from what we know, the people closest to him before he met Rapunzel. So I will make a few assumptions about his past self based on how they treated him when they first met again in the series. They hadn't seen him in a long while and didn't expect him to have had such a drastic change. So they assumed they could treat him just like they did before his shift. They also suspiciously reacted similarly, which backs up my following points. Their first impulse for both of them was to manipulate him, which worked for a short while actually. That makes me believe that he let himself be easily manipulated as long as people stayed with him. He didn't think too much. He didn't care about the consequences of his actions or that the love wasn't healthy. And to be fair, he also didn't really have much of another choice but to steal from people. I mean, he was the biggest thief of Corona after all, so that's not a good look on your job application. He wasn't able to live his true self and let it shine because of his financial situation and because he didn't have any better company. That was until Rapunzel came into his way. As I showed in the intro, he revealed to Rapunzel that his name isn't actually Flynn Rider, but Eugene Fitzherbert. She told him she prefers it over Flynn, and she was the first one to do so. That name, Eugene, is tied to his real personality. Flynn is just his persona that helps him pretend to be more confident, more charming, and more careless. His insecurities and empathy were weaknesses he knew they could be used against him. Lance and Stallion also didn't seem to like those attributes about him when they met him again. But Rapunzel caused a significant change in his life. She was the first person who actually listened to what he had to say. Someone who loves him for his authentic self, Eugene. A caring, soft and flawed man. She gave him the space to be honest with her. We humans intuitively feel such things. He finally found someone who cares about him, not only about what he can bring to the table as a thief, as a deceiver. She loves him for his quirks, she loves him through his mistakes and helps him get up, and she respects the way he wants to be addressed and talked about. In the events between the movie and the series, he started working on himself. He used to make people's lives difficult by stealing, thieving, taking what's not theirs. But now he speaks the truth and wants to help the people around him. Heck, he even has several episodes about how he wants to help the still unnamed captain, how to capture thieves, or actually directly contributes at doing so. He reflected on himself and decided to live the life he actually wants to live, with someone who loves him for who he actually is. When people mistreated him, he stood up for himself. Or if they accused him of being his old self, he proved to have changed and to stand for these changes. He started loving himself and accepting his mistakes and flaws too, which is something he wasn't able to do before. He still had many sassy moments, but overall, he showed a rather soft personality in the series.
Unbelievable. Did you eat all the cookies?
I'm not a pig, Cassandra. I ate all of your cookies. I'm saving mine for later.
Huh. You are nothing but a self-serving, inconsiderate, arrogant freeloader.
You know, I could rattle off insulting adjectives describing your personality too, but to do so would imply that you actually have a personality, and I just wouldn't feel right about doing that.
I mean, you're smart, attractive, not the most attractive man in the room, clearly.
Eugene!
Especially at the beginning of the show, many people tended to call him by his old name, Flynn. Sometimes it was an accident, such as Varian, or they did that just to disrespect him, such as the captain. Then they spent some time with him and learned that he truly changed, and there is a meaning between his new name, Eugene. As you probably expected, it was a bit different with Lance and Stallion. They initially liked him superficially, therefore they had a hard time understanding that he truly changed. That hurt him because he was attached to them, unlike with the captain or the Varian. He spent many years with them, and they knew his history the best. Thanks to Eugene, Les actually redeemed himself as well. It took some time to accept his change of lifestyle, a parallel to socially transitioning, but he accepted it at the end of his introduction episode. He learned from him, stopped stealing, and became the genuine friend Eugene deserved. He's still a clumsy and empty-headed dog, but he's on the good side and doing his best. Stallion is hot. Had a different reaction to this whole deal than Lance. Eugene didn't want to have anything to do with her, since she's still a thief, something immoral, and he isn't. I will love her regardless, though. There were some complications when they met. You know, the average situation when two exes meet again after the guy left the girl alone at the altar, so her dad uses a venomous spider to intoxicate his best friend and he forces him to marry his daughter, but his girlfriend crashes the wedding. We all can relate, right? Anyway, in another episode, she met Rapunzel again and she gave her a taste of her own medicine by forcing her to help her. When they talked about Eugene, she called him by his chosen name and admitted she understands why Eugene fell in love with her.
You know, now I get why he went for you. Eugene? I looked at him and I saw a thief, and you looked at him and saw a good person.
I mean, I understand why you will fall in love with both Rapunzel and Stallion, but that's just my opinion. Don't get me started about Edmund. So, to keep things short again, in the season 2 finale, Eugene found out that his father is actually alive, and not only that, he spent his whole childhood watching him from afar, under poor conditions, living under poor conditions, because you know he was an orphan. Anyway, they unite, and Eugene finds out his first name wasn't actually Eugene, it was Horace. But of course he wants to call Eugene, because the fuck's all this. But as you can imagine, since I'm adding this to the section of the video, you can imagine that Eugene had to spend one more episode being that named. Just in a different way than usually. At the end, Ed won't stop calling him Harris, wherever you would want to call your child like that.
And things are fine again.
If you came so far, you came to the conclusion that Eugene isn't canonically transgender. Not like it's going to stop me headcanoning him to be like that and adding pride flags to my edits. But media isn't made for only one specific audience. It can be interpreted in many ways. I think there are many things that Eugene has in common with genderqueer people. When it comes to exploring one's own identity, learning to be your most authentic self, learning to love yourself and setting boundaries. Of course, that's something that cisgender people do too, but it's more significant and sometimes more difficult for people who are genderqueer. Also, my best friend Day is a huge Eugene fan and he's trans, and I didn't tell him about this video you're watching. Maybe you'll find him in the comments? Who knows? Let me know if there's anything about the editing or writing I can improve, since I don't have that much experience with these videos. I hope you have a great day, no matter when you're watching this. Lots of love and bye!